Yo, so we're gonna break down Dwayne Wade on the worst money he's ever blown, men's wealth by men's health. We try to do these reviews and recaps. We call this the Frugal recap. I'm a Mobi Hugo, founder of a Frugal Athlete. For context, so we're gonna break this down and kind of give us our insights, kind of give you our insights on like different financial practices, what we like, what we don't like, and then kind of go from there. So let's see what Dwayne Wade's saying.
I'm
I'm
Dwayne
Dwayne
Wade,
Wade,
and I'm
and I'm
going to
going
tell
to
you
tell you
about the
about the
worst
worst
money I've
money I've
ever
ever
spent
spent
and the
and the
best
best
money I've
money
ever
I've ever
spent.
spent.
Let's
Let's
start with
start
my
with my
worst
worst
money.
money.
I got the sauce,
When I
When
was
I
in
was in
college,
college
and I
and I
knew I
knew I
was
was
going
going to
to enter the
enter the
draft, I
draft,
had
I
my
had my
eyes
eyes
on
on
this
this
blue
blue
Escalade.
Escalade.
I
I
seen
seen
someone
someone
driving
driving
it
it
down
down
the
the
streets
streets
of
of
Milwaukee,
Milwaukee,
and
and
I
I
was
was
like,
like,
I get some
get some
money,
money,
I'm going to
I'm
go
gonna
get
get
me
me
one
one
of
of
those.
those.
So
So
I
I
think the
think the
color was
color
like
was like
electric
electric
blue,
blue,
and I
and I
had
had
26 inch
26-inch
rims
rims
on
on
it
it
that
that
were
were
blue.
blue.
With
With
spinners on
spinners
it,
on it,
and that
and
was
that
when
was
the
when the
song,
song,
ride a
Ride
spinner,
Spinners,
they ride a
Ride
spinner,
Spinners,
they
they
don't
don't
stop.
stop.
So I
So I
just
just
pull up
pull
to
up
the
to the
light,
light,
roll my
roll my
window
window
down,
down,
turn the
turn the
song
song
up.
up.
But that
But
was the
that was the
first thing I
first thing
went
I
and
went and
bought.
bought.
Early in my
Early in my
career,
career,
So basically, he's saying he regrets buying a car. I mean, it was his first purchase. Like he wanted to reward himself for going pro. I think what's important to note is that um, you are allowed to, spend on things that you feel like you deserve if you work hard and have the means to do it. But I think what he's trying to say is that um, from an asset standpoint, that car doesn't have any value. He got the spinners on it. It was blue. It was like all these different things. As we know, like when it comes to cars, once it's off the lot, it loses its value. So how are you, going to be able to turn your car into an asset? Up until recently, that wasn't really the case. There's apps like Turo where you can put it's basically like Airbnb for cars. And I know a lot of athletes have nice cars, so this is a way for them to turn a depreciating asset into a cash flowing asset. So let's continue.
I
I
didn't
didn't
have a
have a
financial
financial
advisor.
advisor.
I didn't
I didn't
trust
trust
anybody. I
anybody.
didn't
I
know
didn't know
anybody.
anybody.
He said he didn't have a financial advisor, so that is really not the best start. But he says he didn't trust anybody, he didn't know anybody, so it's not his fault per se. You are what you are exposed to. So as young athletes, how can we expose them to more um, people that are financially literate, that people that they can trust, that people that are going to be patient enough to explain things to them?
So I
So
was
I was
kind of
kind of
just
just
doing it on
doing it
my
on my
own,
own,
and I
and I
had
had
this
this
like
like
plan.
plan.
So Dwayne Wade said he was doing it on his own. So with that being said, there's apps like Mint, Clarity, Marcus, YNAB. There's so many different apps where, at least if you're doing it on your own, it can help. I'm not saying you should. This is my disclaimer. Consult with your financial team, but there's apps to help alleviate the stress of trying to do it all on your own. There's even robo advisors that can help you if you have a certain strategy that you use, whether it's like Wealthfront or Betterment. These are apps that you can use to hopefully help you in your process of trying to figure it out and not have the stress of trying to handle millions of dollars on your own.
Plan. I'm
And I'm
like,
like,
okay,
okay,
if I
if
can
I can
save
save
a
a
million
million
dollars
dollars
out
out
of
of
this
this
two
two
point
point
some
some
million
million
dollars
dollars
that
that
I'm
I'm
making,
making,
like,
like,
that'd be
that'd be
good.
good.
And I
And I
think I
think I
ended
ended
up
up
saving
saving
none.
none.
Like I
Like I
spent
spent
all of
all
it.
of
I
it. I
went
went
through
through
it.
it.
My
My
family
family
had
had
needs,
needs,
and
and
but
but
I
I
regret not
regret not
having
having
someone
someone
early in
early
my
in my
career
career
to help
to help
teach me
teach me
about
about
all of
all
this
of this
money.
money.
I
I
went from
went from
making
making
200
200
some
some
odd
odd
dollars in
dollars in
college to
college to
becoming
becoming
a
a
millionaire
millionaire
overnight.
overnight.
And I
And
didn't
I
know
didn't
what
know
to
what
do
to
with
do
it.
with it.
I was
I
just
was
sending my
sending my
credit
credit
card to
card to
people like,
people
hey,
like,
can I
hey,
get
can I
that
get that
Bentley?
Bentley?
I
I
never
never
really
really
reached out
reached
to
out to
someone and
someone and
said,
said,
hey,
hey,
what do you think I
think I
should get
should get
this
this
right
right
now?
now?
Or you
Or
think
you
I
think I
should
should
purchase this
purchase this
house right
house right
now? I
now?
just
I
kind
just
of
kind
did
of
it
did it
all on
all
my
on my
own, and
own, and
that
that
is
is
not
not
smart,
smart,
people.
people.
Have
Have
somebody
somebody
that's
that's
smarter than
smarter than
you
you
that can
that can
help you
help
with
you
your
with your
money. I
money.
wish
I
I
wish
would
I
have
would have
learned
learned
early
early
on
on
how to
how to
spend my
spend my
money
money
correctly. I
correctly.
would
I
have
would
been a
have
lot
been
richer
richer
today.
today.
Yeah, so I mean, he hit the nail on the head. All the advice that he said makes sense. It's tough, when you go from $200 to being a multimillionaire. It's tough to tell somebody like you can't spend it on that, you can't spend on that, but you have to have someone in your corner that's going to help you think long term. You got to have someone that's going to be able to like be, sometimes aggressive and strict with you. It's like, no, you shouldn't spend money on that. And there's tough things, sometimes you got to touch the hot stove as a young athlete. Um, to really understand like, okay, this is what I should and shouldn't do with my money. And when it comes to purchases, you always have to ask yourself, is it something I want or is it something I need?
Well, I've
Well, I've
lost
lost
money
money
gambling.
gambling.
So I'm
So
not
I'm
a
not a
big
big
gambler. I
gambler.
don't
I
go
don't
to
go to
casinos and
casinos and
gamble,
gamble,
but
but
when you
when you
play
play
sports,
sports,
it's
it's
like
like
a
a
rite of
rite of
passage
passage
that you
that
have
you
to
have to
play
play
cards on
cards
the
on the
plane.
plane.
It's
It's
kind of
kind of
like
like
a
a
team
team
thing.
thing.
It's how
It's
we
how we
connect, how
connect,
we
how we
bond.
bond.
People have lost a lot of money gambling with teammates, and it doesn't help that athletes are naturally competitive. So when it comes to gambling amongst teammates or even in Vegas, you have to have a structured discipline around how you go about it.
And I've
And I've
lost a
lost a
lot of
lot of
money on the
money on the
plane
plane
just
just
trying to
trying to
play with
play
my
with my
teammates. It's
teammates.
been
It's been
times where
times
I
where I
wanted
wanted
out
out
because like I
because
was
like I was
losing
losing
so
so
much
much
money.
money.
Like my
Like my
financial
financial
advisor
advisor
called me and
called me
said,
and said,
"Hey,
"Hey,
is this
is this
something we need
something
to
we need
talk
to talk
about? Do
about?
you
Do
have
you
a
have a
problem?"
problem?"
So
So
losing
losing
money by
money by
gambling to
gambling to
me
me
is
is
the
the
worst
worst
way
way
to
to
lose
lose
money.
money.
I'm not
I'm not
into
into
it,
it,
so
so
I'm glad
I'm
that's
glad that's
over
over
with.
with.
As a
As a
parent,
parent,
when it
when it
comes
comes
to
to
birthdays, when it
birthdays, when it
comes to
comes to
Christmas,
Christmas,
when it comes
when
to
it comes to
holidays, you
holidays, you
buy your
buy your
kids
kids
all
all
these
these
presents.
presents.
They
They
don't
don't
play
play
with
with
none of
none
them.
of them.
Like
Like
my
my
daughter, I
daughter,
buy.
I bought.
That's a great point. I think it's important to understand that you should, um, instead of giving gifts, invest gifts. So you teach a man to fish, feed him for a lifetime, or give him a fish, you feed him for a day. And obviously, there's a give and take with that when it comes to dealing with family, friends, or kids. I can't speak for uh, the kids portion. I'm not a parent, so I can only imagine that blessing that it is to have kids and you wanted to spoil them because you maybe didn't have that luxury as a child on your own. But it's important to understand like thinking long term because you never know what can happen. So there's apps like Goal Setter, shameless plugs, the company that I'm involved with. Goal Setter, UNEST, there's a stockpile, different uh, companies that are allowing parents to not only invest in their children but help them learn more about financial literacy in a fun way.
Buy her
Buy her
all these
all these
presents she
presents
want
she
to
want
play
to play
with,
with,
a
a
box
box
or a
or a
bag from
bag
the
from the
grocery
grocery
store.
store.
And it's
And it's
like,
like,
why do
why
we
do we
go
go
all
all
out
out
and your
and your
kids just
kids
want
just
to
want to
play
play
with the
with the
simplest
simplest
thing
thing
like
like
shoestrings and a
shoestrings and a
shoe?
shoe?
So I
So I
think
think
we need
we
to
need
get
to get
smart as
smart as
parents and
parents and
start
start
buying
buying
them
them
shoestrings and
shoestrings and
shoes and
shoes
start, instead of
instead of
buying them
buying
all
them
these
all these
extravagant
extravagant
gifts
gifts
that they
that they
never
never
play
play
with.
with.
So
So
yes, I
yes, I
spent a
spent a
lot of
lot of
money on
money
a
on a
lot of
lot of
gifts
gifts
that
that
my
my
kids
kids
have
have
never
never
used,
used,
but other
but other
families
families
have
have
because we
because we
passed them
passed them
on.
on.
Now we're
Now
going
we're
to
going
talk
to talk
about
about
best
best
money.
money.
Well,
Well,
best money
best
I've
money
ever
I've ever
spent
spent
was
was
buying my
buying my
mom
mom
her first
first
home,
home,
buying my
buying my
dad
dad
his
his
first
first
home that
home
was
that was
paid
paid
for.
for.
I mean,
I
as a
mean, as a
kid,
kid,
you
you
have
have
these
these
dreams
dreams
to,
to,
especially growing
especially
up in
growing
the
up
inner
in the
city, to
city, to
make it
make it
out
out
and to
and to
bring your
bring your
family
family
along
along
and buy
and
your
buy your
mama
mama
this
this
dream
dream
home,
home,
buy your
buy your
dad,
dad,
a
a
nice
nice
car or
car
a
or a
nice
nice
home as
home as
well.
well.
And
And
I was
I
able
was
to
able
do
to do
that.
that.
And
And
also for
also
my
for my
kids,
kids,
the
the
best money
best
I've
money I've
spent on
spent
them
on
has
them
been
has
able
been able
to
to
give
give
them
them
the
the
education
education
that
that
I
I
didn't
didn't
have.
have.
Put them
Put
in
them in
some of the
some of the
best
best
schools
schools
to the
to the
point where
point
my
where my
kids
kids
at a
at a
certain
certain
age,
age,
maybe
maybe
about
about
10,
10,
they feel
they
they're
feel they're
smarter
smarter
than
than
me.
me.
So
So
that's the
that's the
challenge that
challenge
we
that we
have in
have
our
in our
house when
house
you
when you
pay for
pay
their
for their
education.
education.
But
But
that's the
that's the
best money
best
I've
money I've
spent
spent
because
because
I've
I've
given
given
them,
them,
the
the
key
key
to
to
a
a
different kind
different
of
kind of
knowledge
knowledge
that a
that
lot
a
of
lot of
kids in
kids
the inner
in the
city
city
when I
when
was
I was
growing up,
growing up
we just
we
didn't
just didn't
have.
have.
The
The
best
best
money I've
money I've
ever
ever
spent or
spent or
invested is
invested
the
is the
money that
money
I
that
did
I did
not
not
spend.
spend.
I
I
think we
think we
all
all
are in
are
this
in this
world where
world
we
where we
feel that
feel
we
that
have
we
to
have to
invest our
invest our
money to
money to
make
make
money.
money.
But
But
sometimes the
sometimes the
best
best
money
money
that you
that you
spend is the
spend is
money
the
that
money
you
that
do
you do
not
not
spend.
spend.
So I get what he's trying to say here, but to be honest, I think like if you could put it like that money in the S&P, and this is not financial advice, but if you idle money, money is a, a vehicle. Money is a verb, So how can you let your money make money on its own? And if you just leave it under your mattress or just leave it in a savings account, um, yes and no. I mean, the fact that sometimes the best offense is a better defense. So I understand what he's trying to say, but I think there's other mechanisms that he can use to, um, you know, not just have his money sitting. So there's high yield savings accounts. There's ETFs, mutual funds, stocks. But with anything, there's always risk, and it's important to understand that as well. So I understand what he's trying to say. but I don't think that would be my approach.
I
I
bought a
bought a
home
home
that
that
it was
it was
kind of
kind
like
of like
taking that
taking that
money that
money
would
that
have
would
been
have
in the
been in the
bank. I
bank. I
put it
put it
into
into
something. I
something.
put
I
it
put it
into
into
property.
property.
And
And
now
now
when I go
when I
back
go
to
back to
sell that
sell that
home,
home,
you're able
you're
to
able
either
to either
get the
get the
money you
money
put
you put
in,
in,
or you're
or
able
you're
to
able
get
to get
more
more
because
because
of
of
the
the
appreciation
appreciation
value of the
value of the
house.
house.
The
The
secret to
secret to
financial
financial
wellness
wellness
is to
is to
have a
have a
plan.
plan.
I
I
think for
think for
me,
me,
sitting
sitting
down
down
quarterly with
quarterly
my
with my
financial
financial
advisor,
advisor,
every
every
time is
time is
about
about
having a
having a
plan,
plan,
right?
right?
Sitting
Sitting
down, she
down, she
said, "What
said,
do you
"What do you
want?"
want?"
And
And
my
my
answer
answer
back was,
back was,
"I would
I would
love to
love to
live the
live the
same
same
lifestyle
lifestyle
that I
that I
live
live
while
while
playing
playing
the
in the
NBA when
NBA
I'm
when I'm
not
not
playing.
playing.
How can
How can
I
I
get to
get
that
to that
point?
point?
What do I
What do
have
I
to
have to
do
do
to
to
maintain
maintain
this
this
level
level
of
of
lifestyle?"
lifestyle?
And
And
we had
we
to
had to
sit down
sit
and
down
come
and
up
come
with
up
a
with a
plan.
plan.
And that
And that
plan
plan,
That's everything right there. I think he hit the nail on the head. When it comes to sports, you have a playbook. When it comes to school, you have a syllabus. When it comes to life, you have a journal. But when it comes to finances, no one has a budget. No one has a plan. So what are we doing to make these plans so that our finances are in order so we can reach the goals that we want to reach? Dwayne Wade was very clear in what his goals were. So what is he going to do while he's playing, or what did he do while he's playing so that he can live the lifestyle that he wanted to live post career? And I think he's done a great job. Obviously, Dwayne Wade's a once in a lifetime, once in a generation talent. So he made quite a bit of money. But there's a lot of people that have made just as much money, if not more, that haven't been able to keep the wealth or build the wealth or maintain the wealth because of them not having a plan. So what does that look like for you? How are you building your plan? How are you being proactive? Would you rather live like a king for a little bit or live like a prince forever? And for any ladies that are watching, would you rather live like a queen for a little bit or a princess forever? So I think it's really important to have that plan and to identify it early and continually go over it to see if you're doing the job that you need to do, or if you need to make some adjustments here and there.
allows me
allows me
to
to
understand, like,
understand, like,
okay,
okay,
I got
I
a
got a
budget,
budget,
I
I
can't
can't
spend
spend
over
over
this,
this,
or if I
or if
go
I go
over,
over,
okay, I got
okay,
to
I
make
gotta
some
make
money
some money
somewhere
somewhere
else, I got
else.
to
I gotta
hustle.
hustle.
So
So
I think
I
for
think for
me is
me
if
is
you
if
have
you
a
have a
plan,
plan,
then you
then
know
you
where
know
you're
where you're
going.
going.
The
The
best
best
financial
financial
advice I
advice
ever
I ever
got
got
was to
was to
get
get
rid of
rid of
about
about
16
16
cars.
cars.
Wow. So he had 16 cars, and he didn't even know about Turo.
My
My
financial
financial
advisor
advisor
Jimmy
Jimmy
came in
came
and
in and
said,
said,
okay,
okay,
so that
so that
Maybach,
Maybach,
the one
the
that
one that
costs
costs
6,000 a
6,000 a
month,
month,
you
you
don't
don't
drive
drive
it.
it.
How
How
about we
about
get
we
rid
get
of
rid of
it?
it?
6,000 a month. So he's spending 70 grand a month. That's not including 70 plus grand a month. Sorry for the uh, mathematicians on listening. 70 plus grand a year uh, on a car. That he has 16. You can only drive one car at a time. So why is he doing that? Unless he's starting a dealership at his house. But if he were thinking of ways to, turn those depreciating assets into cash flowing assets, he should definitely look into different opportunities, like, for example, Turo. And I know I talked about it in previous shows and content, or similar competitive platforms like Turo, where he turns those into assets. But at the time, you can only drive one car at one time, so I don't know why you need 16.
That's
That's
somebody's
somebody's
house
house
though.
though.
And I was
And I
like,
was like,
no,
no,
I'm not
I'm
getting
not
rid
getting
of
rid
it.
of
And
it.
2 weeks
2 weeks
later, I
later, I
watched it
watched
get
it get
taken away
taken away
from my
from my
home.
home.
So the
So the
best
best
advice I
advice I
got is
got
to
is
get
to
rid
get
of
rid of
all
all
these
these
cars, the
cars, the
depreciating
depreciating
value.
value.
You
You
spend a
spend a
lot of
lot of
money.
money.
I
I
actually
actually
have
have
one
one
car.
car.
I have
I have
a
a
modest
modest
Audi
Audi
Q8.
Q8.
That's all I
That's all I
have.
have.
My
My
slogan when
slogan
it
when it
comes to
comes to
money
money
is
is
a
a
failure to
failure to
plan
plan
is a
is a
plan to
plan to
fail.
fail.
So
So
that's
that's
it.
it.
That's the
That's the
story of my
story of my
financial
financial
history.
history.
Yeah, so that's it for the Frugal recap. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you guys check out for more. Subscribe to the channel.